everyone, it's Shane Conto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I each pick a film related in some shape or form, and hopefully by the end of this episode, you have two films to go check out, and on special occasions, more than two. But not this one. We have two films coming your way from director Kathryn Bigelow, and joining me, because it's the first Thursday of the month, is my wife, Jess. Jess, thank you so much for coming on.
It's great to be here, Shane, on the first of the month.
Yes, and Jess indeed picked Point Break. I am an FBI agent.
You have to get pretty far into the movie before he says that.
That's like the third act of the movie.
I thought that he was going to come out swinging with that one. Actually,
No.
I have no idea what this was about besides surfing and that he was an FBI agent.
Yeah, so I'll give you the plot synopsis. We'll be talking about Point Break and Near Dark.
It doesn't matter.
We have an FBI agent, as stated previously, goes undercover to catch a gang of surfers who may be bank robbers.
Technically, there's more than one FBI agent.
Correct. And there's more than one surfer gang.
Yeah, but only
that are criminals.
Oh, yeah. And Patrick Swayze.
Only one of these groups actually robs banks. But this movie, it's just, I'm trying to find some of the most unhinged quotes from this
fact
movie.
That his name is Johnny Utah.
I'm Johnny Utah.
That's some shit you would name your character in a homebrew Western D&D campaign.
And so point out that resident crazy man Gary Busey is in this movie as Papas. And we have quotes like, I'm so hungry I could eat the ass end out of a dead rhino. I should have had you get me 3 of those things.
Like, first of all, from where? From whence are you procuring this in LA? But like, that's a really specific reference to like predators that eat butt end first. What?
22 years, man. LA has changed a lot during that time. The air got dirtier and the sex got clean.
Do you think he improv those?
I have no idea. I would.
Who would write that with a straight face? Besides Gary Busey.
I'm trying to find the ones like
they start off their partnership with him talking a lot of shit.
Yes, and like the whole we're gonna get rid of her like a virginity on prom night or something crazy like that.
He's just unhinged one-liners constantly. He doesn't really have coherent conversations.
This is from screenwriter W. Peter Iliff, who wrote Point Break, Varsity Blues, and I'm sure a bunch of other movies with similar, very dude kind of language in it.
Good for him. I'm glad that he got in and out before mediocre white dude writing wasn't very popular anymore.
Well, that's the biggest thing is some of the dialogue in this is
it's very funny.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's campy.
It's ridiculous. It's over the top. This movie is ridiculous and over the top in both the fact that like the humor is so unhinged. The melodrama is like up to 11.
Didn't need to be that way.
And the direction from Kathryn Bigelow is so intense, brash, with so much attitude.
I'm surprised a woman directed this.
Well, that's Kathryn Bigelow, who was married to James Cameron.
Ah, yes.
Who, her career has evolved and she shifted into doing films like Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30 and Detroit, which all focuses on like war and the police and stuff like that. She left this campy, ridiculous, over the top action movie life behind her.
Get it? You can only do so many before it's like, oh, another one.
Like the vibes of this movie are so 1991, it's ridiculous. So, which it's wild that she did this in 91 and Cameron did P2 Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So like
one of these is not like the other.
Patrick Swayze's mullet.
What a good one. Not a wig. Probably. As we determined.
You have the ex-presidents. They're all wearing ex-president masks and a crook.
Yeah.
Really hamming it up. And of course
Jimmy Carter, he didn't have a lot to work with.
And of course Patrick Swayze's Bodhi, which also that name, Bodhi.
white guy with dreads. He doesn't have dreads, but like
He would.
I wouldn't be
He,
surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but like he has taken on this like surfing is life and religion, man.
Was surfing really that violent in California? Like I know they hit the
Oh,
beaches or whatever. I've read that that actually happened, but like, dang.
well, this gave me a bunch of vibes of The Surfer, the one with
Oh yeah,
Nick Cage and the late great Julian McMahon as this
they didn't
like
do a lot of
Andrew Tate-esque hyper masculine dude.
they didn't do a lot of girl boss gatekeep in this though.
Correct.
They did in the Surfer. There
But
was a lot of gaslighting in that.
I really liked Lori Petty's Tyler. Like I'm not gonna say she's like a layered character, but I like Lori Petty
Yeah,
in it.
you can tell that she's a cool, spunky girl because her name's a boy name.
And she has short hair.
Oh my God.
And I would like to just point out Johnny Utah like is a complete asshole.
Yeah.
And what he does to like get her in bed and get connected with her,
Him and
lying about his parents dying in
him
a
and Gary
tragic accident.
Busey, they deserve each other.
Which and like Gary Busey's character is as unhinged Gary Busey as you're probably expecting to get.
All
So
teeth.
Mr. Papas. And you know, you have some unhinged like John C. McGinley, Dr. Cox is the head of their
He
like
just
FBI unit.
he really just yells.
Yes, he does just yell. And even Tom Sizemore pops up as an undercover cop at one point and he's just yelling. Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers is one of the arms dealer gang of surfers that they do like a raid at their house. That scene is intense.
It's just quite a diverse group of skills that they have in this. I guess to be a really successful group of bank robbers, you have to have a lot of diverse skills. And then you have Bodhi, who's just cool. I guess
Cool, charismatic, and a surfer, man.
they should have involved Patrick Swayze's Arabians. That would have made it better for me.
But that sequence where they do the raid on that house, it's so intense and thrilling. And the chase sequence,
The body count on
the
this is ridiculous. At what point is it not like I hate to say this, but at what point maybe no, I don't hate to say this. At what point is it not worth it to really pursue them this intensely? Like, I mean, they're
they're,
robbing banks,
they're
but
gonna get them,
they
Jess.
weren't really killing anybody until that started.
Yeah, honestly, the police getting involved really escalated this situation.
Price.
But we don't care about that. This is 1991 and it's an action movie.
No, I just with the one second of critical thinking I applied, I was like, man, like maybe you should have pulled back a little bit on this one.
Well, that's exactly what like the quote unquote douchebag boss John C. McGinley's about. And it's just like the man's right. He yells all the time, but this man is right. But that's not cool for the movie.
Destroyed half of LA.
This is a 90s action movie. And that chase sequence is amazing. It's so visceral and exciting. And of course, the Chekhov's knee injury that comes back into play and Johnny can't get up and like Bodhi's in his Reagan mask is slowly climbing the fence and looks back at him, and he's just like, "Ah," and just shoots up in the air, which I have seen Hot Fuzz so many times, and that's like one of Nick Frost's favorite moments from this movie, and because he
Also,
loves cop
I mean, he's
movies.
firing up. On top of
I
him,
know
those bullets are gonna come down.
they don't come down in movies, Jen.
Oh, they don't, but I'm like, but he just killed himself.
And then like the multiple skydiving sequences are thrilling and really well shot and
I
interesting.
do love a skydive.
Um, and then I just at the very end, because you know, they kidnapped Tyler, which she should have just like I felt so bad for her because one, he just
Didn't want to be there.
Johnny deserved to get flipped out on like she did late at night during that one scene. And then the next time we see her, she's kidnapped, and then
He didn't ask for any of
and
this.
he saves her, kind of, I guess, and they release her, and she comes running to him, like, no, like, this man is not good for you. And she's like kissing on him and holding him, and all he can do is stare off in the distance at Bodhi. I'm like, if I have seen anything so homoerotic, like the relationship between Johnny Utah and Bodhi,
Oh my god, I know.
and it's just like,
Disappointed they didn't kiss.
they're the ones actually in love. Tyler, you deserve better because Johnny loves Bodhi more.
Yeah, also, like, even if he did love her more, yikes.
Well, and I love how this movie ends in the most surfer dude kind of way. He's like, I chased you all over the world. And Keanu Reeves has like a scruffy beard now, and he's looking like young John Wick.
Yeah.
And he finds him on this beach in Australia, and there's these like massive 50-foot waves, and he's just like, man, you need to let me out there and surf this one last time. And he does.
He lets him.
And he died surfing. He died what he loved doing,
Could
which
you
was surfing.
being like one of the other FBI agents and you're just standing there, all, like 10 of your colleagues have died in pursuit of this man, and this chuckle fuck comes
Oh,
up.
and he's like, you let him get away. It's like, no, I didn't.
Like, what? What?
It's just like, this movie is thrilling. It's exciting. I'd watch it again, but this movie's so dumb. This is like,
It's gloriously dumb.
and this movie is too idiosyncratic of this moment for them to be stupid enough to remake this, which they did.
How was it, Shane?
I haven't seen it, but I have not heard good things.
Yeah, why? Just make another action movie. You can make a dumb action movie anytime.
And they got, let's look at the cast here. They got Edgar Ramirez as Bodhi, which I guess is less offensive. That it's a, well, he he's a Venezuelan actor playing a surfer dude. So brah. And then Luke Bracey, who is actually Australian, plays Johnny Utah. Ray Winstone is Papa's,
What?
which is interesting. Delroy Lindo's in this. Academy Award nominated actor.
We were just
Delroy
talking
Lindo.
about him.
So no, I don't think I'm interested in watching the remake of this movie.
You don't have to be. It's fine.
But Jess, do you have any other thoughts on this completely unhinged, wild, totally 90s action movie?
No. Early 90s.
Very early 90s. The year we were both born, 1991.
I remember it fondly. My mom took me an infant to see it in theater.
But let's see. I want to confirm. This was July 12th, so this was like halfway in between.
You weren't born yet. You were a little floating around, hanging out.
I was gestating.
Yeah.
There we go.
So I'm floating around.
Floating around.
I was too busy dealing with being born.
Now, our next film is 1987's Near Dark, which this is a neo-Western vampire action flick from Kathryn Bigelow. And this is starring Adrian Pasdar, Jenny Wright, who are the ones that I had no idea who they were.
Yeah, say who that.
But starring Lance Hendrickson, Bill Paxton, and Jeanette Goldstein, all hot off of just doing Aliens the year before, all with James Cameron. So then they jumped right into doing
like,
this.
I know a guy.
I know two guys and a gal to be in your movie, to be vampires. But this film is a small town farmer's son reluctantly joins a traveling group of vampires after he is bitten by a beautiful drifter. But Jess, what were your general thoughts on Near Dark?
I stood up for him too much. I was like, I think he's okay. And then he wasn't. And then he was a vampire. He's kind of whiny. I don't really care about him that much.
Well, I think the biggest weakness of this movie are the two leads.
Unlikable protagonists.
I don't think Hasdar's performance is particularly interesting, and Caleb's not an interesting character at all.
No.
So like he's kind of just there. You're in this to hang out with the cool vampires that he hangs out with.
In their like RV or whatever.
Yeah.
And it is sad that his family, we were way more worried about his family than anybody else.
And then they just disappeared for a while before coming back into play. And then Jenny Wright, like, I'm trying to think if I've seen her in anything else. She was in Young Guns 2 and Pink Floyd The Wall.
Sure.
Neither of them were particularly interesting. I think the most interesting it was when it was very, like, the opening sequence in this film is very mysterious and intense because we don't know who we should be afraid of. Mm-hmm. Like, is he a dangerous dude?
Yeah, or like,
should we worry about her? Or is she a mysterious drifter? Should we be worried about him? And plot twist, we should be worried about him because she was a vampire and bit him. And then there's that whole
He
entire
actually
scene.
deserved it.
But like, uh,
Yeah.
I think the setup was the interesting part. They're kind of like blank slate kind of characters, but it was an interesting sequence where he's like drifting across the farm trying to get back to his house,
Oh yeah, he's
and he's like
walking.
slowly burning and smoking, and then they zoom in and just pick him
Yeah,
up,
they
and
abduct him.
then his dad and sister like running
Yeah, like
after
yo,
them,
what the hell?
which I felt really bad. And yes, we felt so much worse for because the dad and little girl acting in this, we really cared about those characters. And every time it came back to them, really worried about their son, I'm like, wow, they're way more interesting than
Yeah,
the main
I don't
characters.
think he deserved a family so nice. He's kind of a shit ass.
And then but you have like the cool vampires, like Bill Paxton doing his very 80s Bill Paxton, like he's coming right off of Game Over, man, from like Aliens, and like he is like the jerk off like vampire character who's aggressive and mean and throwing barbs at each other and kind of like bullying Caleb. But then you have like the cool leader vampire who's Lance Hendrickson, who played Bishop in Aliens.
Hmm.
And he's intense and he has this like strange, intense sexual dynamic with Janet Goldstein's Diamondback.
As vampires too.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If you go to a vampire movie not expecting it to be sexual, then what are you doing? They're vampires. It's supposed to be
Yeah,
sexy.
seductive.
It's all pseudo-sexual, like biting and stuff like that. It's like so. This movie is can be sexy at times. It just I don't think the two leads have a whole lot of
No.
chemistry. So like that part doesn't really sell very well. But like I think Hooker and Diamondback have an interesting dynamic. Those vampires, and then you have what's his name, Homer, who's like a really old soul in a young body,
Mm-hmm.
and this is so 80s, like the outfits and everything, those vibes.
Leather.
I think one of the most interesting scenes is when that they're at that bar and they're really pushing Caleb. It's kind of like his initiation to it
Yeah.
all. And it's intense, it's thrilling, it's visceral, and that's where they really lean into like that vampire kind of stuff.
And then he gets whiny again.
Well, that's the thing. Whenever it goes off by themselves with Caleb and May, the film's a lot less interesting. I give the film credit for introducing this interesting idea of how to unvampire with the whole like blood transfusion thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting development to it because it adds layers. And like I don't really have seen that very often in a vampire story.
Mm-mm.
And so it gives way to like maybe we can not have this life anymore. I think this movie is at best when it really finally builds up to this like Western showdown where like it really leans into its neo-Western motifs and stuff like that. And they have like the confrontation with like the gas truck which explodes.
Yeah, you knew as soon as it came on screen it was gonna explode. Why even have a gas truck on screen?
And then that thrilling like showdown on the street with them chasing in the light and they're like slowly burning. The pyro in this is really
Yeah,
impressive.
there's a lot of
Yes, I think the practical effects and the body horror in this are the most interesting parts of the movie.
mhm.
There's that whole thing where they're in that small little hotel and the cops start shooting through and like the bullet holes shoot light through and stuff like that is really intense. So when it leans into the action and like the cooler vampire characters, I think this is really interesting. I think this is a cool movie. I'd watch it again, but it definitely suffers from I don't care that
Yeah.
much about the main character.
Me.
Um, but
Maybe if
it
I was younger.
this movie has very edgy, moody
Oh yeah.
like vibe to it, and Caleb very much is like a moody, edgy teen
It's
guy from
annoying.
the 80s. What's crazy is this came out the same year as The Lost Boys. So there's
Similar vibe, I can see it, yeah.
it's no wonder this movie is a lot more of a cult classic
Friends.
because like Lost Boys was like it had the 80s music, which also
I saw some 80s music in it.
the music from Tangerine Dream is fantastic. The score in this, who they've done films like Thief and Legend and Firestarter. and Sorcerer. So like they've made some really interesting scores. And this is really well shot, despite the fact that, not gonna lie, we watched this on a YouTube. Somebody posted this up there, and it was slightly out of it slightly was like out of frame. So like this wasn't the best way to watch this, but it's literally nowhere. So like this is on no streaming services. You have to find it on physical media.
Next time we're emailing Kathryn Bigelow herself.
I actually have to confirm if this doesn't have an Arrow release, it 100% needs one, because this film certainly fits their vibe, and I'm sure they could come up with a really cool cover for it and stuff like that. It's largely out of print.
Oh.
It's mostly only available internationally and some old DVDs. So Arrow needs to get on that, because they've made some really cool physical releases for films like
Do you
this.
think they take suggestions?
I'm gonna plug this to my buddy Adam, also friend of the show, and also one of the cycled guests. He's always the fifth Thursday person. And also he's a physical media collector and podcaster. And he has actually been like, hey, they should really do this. And it's like happened. I need to follow up with him to see if he knows anything about a Near Dark re-release. Because like if Umbrella or Arrow release this on 4K, I'd 100% buy it.
We got one.
Yeah. There we go. But Jess, do you have any other thoughts on Near Dark?
No.
Well, that is a wrap here on another episode of the Wasteland Retrospective. Jess, thank you so much, as always, for coming on and chatting movies with me.
Yar.
Yarb. That would be. I actually have to confirm if we've done it for this version, because there was an old version of this podcast, and then we started clean. That would be a fun that would be a fun trio of movies to do, the Cornetto trilogy at some point, because. So next week, I'll be joined by our fearless leader, Mike Hilty, and be doing a couple of swashbuckling adventures starring Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland, The Adventures of Robin Hood and Captain Blood. Next month, Jess and I are going to do a couple of early Toni Collette comedies out of Australia with Muriel's Wedding and Kosi, which I had never heard of, but I looked up her early career, and it came up there, so we're gonna go with that.
Back to Oz.
And after having our special 100th episode where we did 4 movies and 3 guests, Luke and I in 2 weeks are going to be breaking the rules ever so slightly and doing the Human Condition trilogy. So be prepared for 9 hours of movie, because each of them are 3 hours. Yes, but they are classics of Japanese cinema, so we're gonna do it anyway.
Not if you have ADHD.
But thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What is your favorite like super 90s or super late 80s, super early 90s action movies that like they should never touch them because the vibes, which I would say Highlander's one of them because of the vibes, but I'm actually super excited about Chad Stahelski's new. Actually, you know what? I would pay money to watch a Chad Stahelski version of Near Dark.
Prove it.
That would be cool.
There'd be more action.
You would have to get Keanu Reeves to be the hooker character, the leader of the vampires. My God, do it now. But anyway, so what's your favorite of that era of action movies, late 80s, early 90s? And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPM Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. We have so many great shows, tons about movies. So if you really love that, but also love their interests, and if you want to join the crew, part of the ship, part of the crew, whether as a guest on one of these shows or if you have an idea for your own podcast and want a place to have that launched, reach out to us on our website. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.